Today is going to be a little tough for people. And the subject matter today is such that it requires folks to listen and to suspend that which they would normally think or utilize in terms of thinking platforms. They have to suspend those. You have to put those aside. And it's very, very difficult. And I recognize it immediately. It's very difficult to do. Very difficult. And you have to think like a lawyer. But today is one of the most important issues that we can deal with because it deals with the issue of speech. And on my private channel, I went into much greater detail in a far more, dare I say, aggressive form of speech regarding this. That may not necessarily comport with the sensibilities of YouTube. That's all I'm going to say. So if you want a much more bare-knuckled look at this, LionelMedia.com, that's where I do my private stuff. But in the meantime, we're going to be talking about this. And we're going to be talking about the notion of speech and what happens when speech is hate. What happens when hate speech? We're obviously talking about this case involving the construction that was suspended by virtue of a noose that was found in Chicago on the Obama property, and therefore that stopped everything as investigations were conducted immediately. What is speech? What is hate speech? And is hate speech verboten? And how do you determine what is and is not hate speech? How do you determine this? Hateful by whose terms and the like. So, sit tight. Let me also remember you, first of all, to please like this. Subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit that little bell, that notification bell, so you'll be aware and made notified of new broadcasts and the like. Also, remember, big news. January the 14th, 2023. It's just around the corner. I'm going to be at the Cutting Room for the first immersive, totally audience participation. This is the house and the steeple and the people. A complete and immersive view of performance that nobody's ever really done. Chappelle doesn't do it. This one doesn't do it. Nobody does this. Because that would throw off, and I'm sorry to say, but a kind of a structured set. You don't want to stop and have somebody throw a question at you. But what I do is the complete and total bare-knuckled illumination of truth. That is the story. That is the shtick. That is the joke. That is the entertainment platform. So please, get your tickets now. I want to meet each one of you, whether you like it or not. January 14th in New York City. Come and enjoy the fun. We are open for business. It's wonderful. Be there. Okay? Now, in the meantime, this is very, very important. And I cannot say this enough. But if you do any type of cursory review of what's going on in the world, you are going to see that the world is in complete and total turmoil. And that the three components of living, the three components of life, the three components of absolute existence, food, water, and energy, that is completely in peril. So what can you do? What can you and your family do? Well, first of all, one of the things you can do is to make sure your family is prepared for severe food shortages when, not if, but when they occur. That's why My Patriot Supply is going the extra mile right now to make sure that their food is affordable for you now. How? They're taking $250 off their 3-month emergency food kits, which is the minimum your family should have. This food kit provides delicious, easy to make, easy to prepare, 2,000 calorie a day breakfast, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks for one person for 3 solid months. Let me say this, for one person. That's why each member of your family must have one of this. This is not a trinket. This is not a gewgaw. This is survival. You're able to save $250 during this timely sale, which ends soon. And you can remember, My Patriot Supply is the nation's largest preparedness company. with millions of families already protected. These 3-month food kits are in stock right now and ready to go. And your order ships fast and free and unmarked for your privacy. So go to, remember this, preparewithlionel.com. 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 Those who know what's coming are using today to prepare. Are you? Preparewithlionel.com. One more time for you in the back. Preparewithlionel.com. Now, let's talk about something. As you know, there are many, many means of speech. Speech expression can be done either in spoken word, song, art, expression, symbology, sculpting, crafts, food preparation, express. To express yourself. To express yourself is what is critical, is what is referred to in the First Amendment. Now, what happens if what you are expressing is hate? What happens if you do the following? Let's say you, motivated by hate, I will stipulate hate, despicable hate, you who despise President Obama, you who are filled with racial animus and racism, you decide to craft a noose, a hangman's noose, not just a slip knot, not something, not that Bubba, whatever his name is, the latch that was used to pull the garage door down. No. Let's just assume, arguendo, that it is a fashion, it is an absolute, clearly identifiable noose. And it's placed at the Obama Library site as a symbolic statement of hate. And we can go into, I don't know if anybody, let's go a step further because I don't know the specifics. Let's say there were actually written words accompanying the noose, so that nobody would be mistaken as to what it means. Oh, no, it is meant, it is directed towards President Obama. It is directed, it is a statement of racist animus, and that's it. Now, let's make it even more interesting. Let's assume, arguendo, as we say, don't forget arguendo for the sake of argument. Let's assume that there is nothing other than that. There are no explosive devices, no physical threats, no threats of harm to him or his family, or just I'm a racist, you're a black man, and I hate you. I hate you because of your race, and here is this noose, and that's it. Not, I'm going to do this to you. This is coming, because the moment you traverse, the moment we go into threatening, especially a president, current, past, it's a different story. So let's just make it very, very easy. And let's assume, for the sake of argument, that this is a story about a threat that merely deals with, and only deals with, specifically, the symbolic form of hate. Is that against the law? Is that against the law? That's it. Is it against the law? Should the expression of hate, let's assume that it is just the expression of hate, should that expression be subject to a law, criminal sanction? Now, my instinct tells me if something is purely made as a statement of dislike, disdain for a person, a gender, a sexuality, I think that is protected speech. The moment it traverses that line and becomes threatening by on whose part? On whose part? On subjective or objective? Meaning, do we have to look into the heart, into the mind of the individual who's making the statement? Do we have to look into the hearts and the minds and the perception of those who are receiving the statement, who are saying to themselves, excuse me, I don't care what he intended. How can you not intend this to be hate? Hate or threat? Well, it's a threat. Well, what did he threaten you? Well, when you do this, when you are, in essence, showing and displaying a device, and let's assume it's the unmistakable hangman's noose. What you were saying is, in essence, you want to do this to me. You want to do this to me. What if the person who is caught says, I didn't say I want to do that to you? Well, why would you do this? What is the purpose of this? Now, you get into this. Now, here's the question. Whose interpretation matters? Do you go to the subjective interpretation of the victim? Is this an objective case? Do you look and say, what would a normal, ordinary person say? What would an ordinary person say who had this? Ordinary black family, or anybody for that matter, what would they say? Okay, let me give you a number of, let's assume we have this device. I put the facts in, I push the button, and it spits out the answer. Hate crime, okay? Black family, president or not, Noose, with a statement of hate, I hate you because of your race. Put the facts in the machine, push the button, boop, the answer comes out, hate, okay. Same situation, take out the statement, the specific detailing of hate, the words. Hate, black family, yeah. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. Now, change the facts. White family, same situation, white family. A white family with a noose? Yes. Is that hate? Well, why wouldn't it be? Well, because historically, the connection... Historically? Wait a minute. What kind of a statute involves historically? You mean to tell me I've got to use historical connotations of literature? I bring in an expert? I bring in somebody from the local junior college. I say, would you tell me historically in terms of literature? Well, yes, the noose has been... Oh, okay. All right. Next situation, burning cross. Definitely. Cross that's not burning. What do you mean? Black family, front lawn, it's a cross. Somebody leaves a cross in the middle of the night. It's not burned. It's just a cross. It's a big crucifix, clearly. Christian cross. One. Well, it's not burned? No. Don't know about that one. Okay, what about this one? How about 3 Christian crosses? Unburned. Now we're getting into, Calvary, or we're getting into Gethsemane, or wait. You're getting too far away. Excuse me. Now, whose standards are you using? You're not asking me what I think. I'm the guy who did it, theoretically. I'm the bad guy. I'm the racist. I'm the Klansman. That's the way I show my hate. You're negating my handiwork because you don't recognize it as such, because you don't see this as being racist. What you're telling me is 3 crosses. No, excuse me. Are you telling me if you don't understand it, that's all that counts? Oh, so if I'm vague, okay, what if I burn a Christmas tree on the front lawn of a black family? What is that? What? I don't have any wood. I don't know how to build a cross. But I've got a tree. And that's my hate crime. You see where we're going with this? Okay. Now, why are you stopping? Question X is, why are you stopping an entire production, an entire construction site because of this? Is it just one cross? Well, I mean, it's one noose, yes. Why are you doing that? Okay, do a curse. Make sure there's none around. Okay, once you find it. Okay, once you found it, go, yep, we found it. And based upon our review, based upon a reasonable degree of symbolic certainty, we believe this was stated as a racist intent. Okay, what do we do with that? What do we do? Can you imagine what that poor man and his family has had to endure throughout his life from idiots who do far worse than this. What are we supposed to do? Let's assume this is such. Let's assume. What do we do? Shut it down? I don't understand this. Now let's go back. I have the same set of circumstances, but now we change it. Let's say instead of a noose, it's maybe, I guess, a noose left at, this is merely hypothetical, the Russian consulate or the Russian, it's a statement against Putin by virtue of what's going on in Ukraine. What about that? Does that mean anything? Does that change anything? I hate a foreign country and a leader that is currently involved in a war. I hate terrorists. I hate criminals. I hate... how about if I leave something at Harvey Weinstein's home because he's a rapist? What about that? What about... Well, so hate's okay. Oh, no, hate's okay. Wait a minute. Hate's okay? Well, yeah, it's okay. So you don't mind hate? Well, no, it's some hate. And is it hate? Are you sure you call it hate? I don't hate anybody. This is my thing. I don't even know what hate means. Whatever it is. Is it possible for me? Can I dislike? I'll say it. Can I hate Russians? Well, I'm upset because of what Brittany Grinder's doing. Brittany Grinder, that everybody in the Biden administration has completely forgotten, who's now going to be who's going to be moved to let's say a work camp. I don't like what's going on with that. I don't like what they're doing with that. I don't like that. I don't like the Russians. I don't like what they do with Ukraine and Zelensky and Kyiv and this. And I don't like those Russians. Not only that, you told me he's a criminal and a mass murderer and that. So I want to show hate. Is that okay? You know, and I know people would say, well, you didn't hear it from us, but yeah, it's okay. I mean, you know. During Vietnam, was it okay to hate the VC, North Vietnam? Can I hate Ho Chi Minh? Can we hate Hitler? Oh, sure. So hating's okay, right? But it's got to be the right people for the right reason. Is that it? Yes. Okay. Do you see where we're going with this? Do you see where we're going? We're putting this into this regime. Hate, not hate. Hate, acceptable hate, impermissible hate, racist hate, no good. We have these tiers of hate. I don't know. I can't figure this law out. And one of the ways that you can get any statute knocked out is if you can convince a court that it is unconstitutional because it is impermissibly vague. It is vague. Vague. Do you understand that? It doesn't make any sense. It is susceptible. It is ambiguous. What if I use a statute that says you cannot drive unreasonably? What does that mean? Because one of the things you have to do as a citizen is you have to be able to read a statute, and you have to be able to comply and comport and to apply your behavior accordingly. So, for example, if a statute says you cannot go 55 miles an hour over that, okay, fine, that's pretty clear. You cannot drive over 25 in a school zone. You must drive reasonably in a school zone. What is that? What does that mean? How do I go out there and say, okay, I'm going to be reasonable today? I'm going to be reasonable. What does that mean? How do I say, yes, officer, I was reasonable. No, you weren't. Yes, I was. I think 45 is reasonable. There were no kids there. It's Saturday afternoon. There's no school. There's no this. There's no you. But it's a school zone. Well, you didn't say. See what happens if I start? Give me something specific. So let me ask you this: how does one not involve hate? Let's go back and make it even more difficult. I love to think in a linear pattern regarding laws. For example, assault is basically attempted battery. That's kind of what assault is. Assault is placing somebody in fear of some current threat, some current injury, with the apparent ability to do so, blah, blah, blah. That's assault. Okay. Larceny is when I take something. I just take something. I steal your doodad, your goo-gaw. I steal it. Now, if I walk up to you and I say, give me your goo-gaw, give me your trinket, give me your widget, give me your watch, give me your money. Now it becomes armed robbery or assault of robbery, whatever it is. Now, so what it is robbery is assault plus larceny. So it's larceny, but it has another issue, another thing. Trespass. Everybody knows what trespass is. Trespass is going someplace that you have no authority to be. It can be the most innocent thing in the world. Say, oh, I'm sorry, you're trespassing. Well, I didn't mean to. You don't have to mean to. It's a general intent crime. You don't have to specifically mean to. But I mean, you're trespassing. You have no license. But I didn't know that. Sorry. I mean, you can, as a practical matter. Now, if I take trespass, but I add something to it, trespass, T plus something else. What if I throw in the intent to commit an offense therein? Then it becomes burglary. So I take trespass, I add some special sauce, and I make it burglary. I just keep adding to it. Okay? Okay. Freedom of speech. That's a tough one. Pick up the phone. Hello? Yes. Midtown Nora? Yes. Hello, my name is Dr. Erwin Terwilliger. I just want to let you know that I hate Alsatians. All of them. Hate them. Don't think they deserve any rights. Don't think they deserve any, hypothetically. Inuits, people from the Papua New Guineans. I hate them. I hate. I'm calling a police station. Is that okay? Yes. So hating's okay? Well, yeah. Really? Yeah. Hating's okay? Yeah. You can't arrest me? Nope. If I stand in a corner, Times Square, and I say, excuse me, I hate Italian people from Calabria, or I just with a bullhorn. Let's assume I'm not disturbing the peace. Hating's okay. Wait a minute. What about this news thing? Well, it's a different story. Why is it a different story? Well, now we get into this new thing. So it's basically taking something which is a law. Normally, there's already some kind of a law. For example, you hit somebody. And that's against the law. That is cognizable. Meaning, it's already a law. Already law against it. Got it? Okay, good. Now, let's say when you hit somebody, you say, listen, you dirty, whatever, you rotten, you and your people, and I'm hitting you because you're a dirty, no good. It's a hate crime. Right? Or is it? Yeah, I guess. All right, fair enough. It is, isn't it? Well, yeah, okay. Now, there was a case years ago, which is interesting. There was a in the state of New York. It was fascinating. There was this guy who was charged with robbery, and every weekend he would go and he would sit and he would lurk. He saw these gay folks would be meeting. These gay young men would be meeting, and different assemblages of gay people would be meeting. So he would move in and rob them. And he said, and he was arrested. And when the police, they were going to charge him with a hate crime. And the police asked him, did you rob these people because you thought they were gay? He said, yes, because in fact I knew they were gay. I knew exactly they were gay. Oh. So it's a hate crime. He said, well, I guess. But I didn't rob them because I hated them. I robbed them because I thought they would be less inclined to fight back. I thought they'd be a pushover. That's why I did it. Oh. So you didn't rob them because you hated me? Oh, no, not at all. Wow. That's a tough one. But I targeted them because they were black, they were gay. But not because he hated gay people. He just thought. It's like if you target old people. I guess a rapist sometimes targets women or some, all right, different. Another case, New York, downtown. It was a McDonald's. This guy's slugging people. He goes, you, and he's just yelling a slew of words, anti-gay epithets and the like, slews, just spewing this word. Okay. They ask him a question. Did you say that? He goes, I sure did. And did you? And he uses one particular F word, which is disparaging. And he said, well, did you do it because we're gay? He says, yes. He goes, but I got to tell you something. He said, I'm gay too, and that's what that's the word I use. He goes, what? It's like the N word. If sometimes the N word is used. If you listen to Dave Chappelle, he uses the N word probably more than most people. But I don't think he's using it in terms of hate. So now we have to take this. Okay, we take the N word, and then we dissect it. Okay, who said it? He said it. Okay, did he mean? Well, what are we going to do? Bring somebody in to a court? Somebody from the junior college, some linguist, some to define the use of the word. Remember in the Bubba, what's his name? The Bubba, you know what it is. I keep saying Bubba Douglas. Bubba Douglas was a wrestler years ago, NWA wrestler. You know what I'm talking about. It was a loop that was used to pull down a garage door. It was alleged. Jesse, I don't even know his name. I don't even know what happened to that case. It just kind of went away. But he claimed it was a noose that he had. Okay. Now, I in no way, Bubba Wallace, thank you. I in no way, in no wise, in no means want to disparage this. The hate, the fear, I'm looking at it in terms of how difficult it is it to write a statute. Now, if you use something like a noose, okay. Most, if not a lot, of hate crime, racially directed animus, is done without being explicit as to why you're doing it. Failure for departmental, raises and any kind of some type of success or promotion, or you can say, I'm not going to pick him. Wait a minute, you didn't pick him. Oh, I never said why I didn't pick him. Well, I think we know. That's tough to prove. Most of the time, nobody says anything. But then as a prosecutor, I've got to go into court and I got to prove not only that he hit somebody, which is already cognizable, this battery, or arson by burning a cross or whatever, but I've got to prove that the reason for this, the reason was how do I say this? That the reason for this was because of an inspiration, a racial hatred. That's what I've got to prove. In addition, what if somebody says, I love you, and hits you? I know it sounds crazy. What am I going to do? How do I prove this? Tell you a true story. Years ago, I was prosecuting a case in front of the toughest judge anybody had ever seen. And we charged this guy, and either he pled open or was found guilty of like first-degree arson. There were no deaths, thank God. But it was a life felony. You can't get any higher in our system. This is before we had hate crimes. The victim, who I believe was gay, said, I want this to be called a hate crime. I said, well, we're charging him with the highest offense. No, I want this to be a hate crime. This went on and on. So I said, okay. So I remember one time I stood before the judge. I said, Your Honor, just as a matter of fact, just want for the record to know that this case is being charged as a hate crime. And the judge says, what? It's a hate crime. What's a hate crime? I'm thinking, and he pretty much said, okay, sure. And we didn't know what that meant. Today is a different story. And today what bothers me the most, and I don't really care for anybody who thinks like this. This is despicable thinking. But what bothers me is the precedent. And the precedent is this. If I take something that is already cognizable at law, something that is already actionable at law, and I elevate that to a different status, I make that to be Worse, I aggravate it by virtue of your thought, your inspiration, your motivation, your animus. I am now creating a special category for thought crimes because a crime already existed, but if you add to it an improper thought, I can aggravate it. A hate of Russians during the Ukrainian war may not be the same as the hate of someone because of their gender or their sexuality. Hate is not hate. It's a subjective hate. Who determines the subjective hate? We don't know. Is there a tribunal? We don't know. Is there a list? We don't know. What happens if I don't know how to leave the right? What happens if I can't do the hangman's noose and I just put a slip knot? Is that it? I'm going to look for a slip knot on a construction site? Are we going to call in experts from the junior college? Hate is not a crime. Hate is not definable. If you do something to threaten someone, if you go to the family of, let's say, a black family, and you say, we want you out of our neighborhood, we don't like your kind, and you burn a cross, or you leave notes, or you threaten, that is clearly, you're threatening them. You're telling them. And it's not a symbolic threat. You're making it clear. And I would go so far as to say, if you did take, there was a black family, and you were burning crosses on their lawn, and you are committing arson, of course, but you are, sometimes threats are clearer than others, and that is intimidation. That's not hate. But if I want you to get out, if I stand in front of your home, or if I'm next door and I blast loud music, if I turn up the, like Tony Soprano did one time on his boat. Remember when the story? That's offensive. It's not even speech anymore. I've got no problem with that. We don't even call it hate. You're burning a cross on a black family's lawn. This is clearly intimidation. This is clearly a threat. This is clearly. If I send you a dead fish, the old Luca Brasi, you sleep with the fishes thing. If I send you, yes, I can use symbology. I can do this. I can understand this. Yes, you're right. And in some cases, but let's assume that you have the case of, we got a big building construction going on here, and somebody leaves a noose. So we're with no words, and we're going to say, so it must be because of the subject matter. When you start getting into this, when you start saying, well, that's when we've got problems. And I don't know when we go from the clear-cut intimidation or into the oncoming traffic of valid and directed, what have you. What if somebody, remember the Westboro Baptist Church, what if somebody were to go in front of a gay, gay legislature and cite biblical scripture or religious scripture from other faiths decrying homosexuality? Is that hate? This is freedom of religion. Yes, but you're directing valid biblical, let's assume there are. I don't know where we're getting into this stuff. This gets really dangerous. What we always want to do is to maintain always the sanctity of speech. We must always maintain speech. We're going to be talking coming up very soon on my private channel about Alex Jones. They're hitting him now with, he's going to be looking at basically a couple of $2 billion eventually. They're freezing his assets. And people will say, because Alex Jones is boorish and churlish and mean and nasty and whatever, that they kind of dismiss it. But you have to look at the issue of what speech is about. It's critical to understand this. Look at what speech is about. Look at what's being said. The part about January 6th, which was never talked about, was because of the speech component of this. Nobody wants to discuss that either. These are perilous times, very frightening times. We cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater. We cannot destroy the sanctity of our speech. And there are, as you can imagine, people in various aspects of society that would love to see this pesky First Amendment thing be done with immediately. And sometimes one would argue the best way to get rid of it is to go after and chip away at it in an area where people will immediately start to applaud without seeing the big results, the long-term results. Okay? Let me stop right there. Think for 1 second. Let's look right now to our good friends at MyPillow. MyPillow.com. One of the most interesting issues right now is the notion of what sleep is. Somebody from day one said, we need someplace soft. It's like that Passionate Kisses, Lucinda Williams. All I want is a comfortable bed that won't hurt my back, and pillows, sheets, swaddling, being ensconced. The notion of this has not changed. A blanket. You want blankets? MyPillow.com has got more blankets than you can imagine. Quilts and gossamer blankets and throw blankets and waffle blankets and down comforters and duvet covers. You can imagine. Pillows, hence the name, dear God, they've got more than you can possibly imagine, all made in this country, and they are perfect. How about sheets? Do you give a sheet? Well, they do. The biggest bed sheet sale ever right now, Giza sheet sets, Percale sheet sets, the overstock sale. Everything available right now at MyPillow, MyPillow.com/Solidus Virgule / Lionel, promo code Lionel. And if you want, if you need, if you deserve, if you say, I want a phone number because I'm rather OG, no problem here whatsoever. The number is 800-645-4965. That's 800-645-4965. Now, remember, the issue is not whether you like Obama or don't like him, or that's not it, or Bubba Wallace, or that's not, we're not talking about it. We're talking about a bigger issue. And the bigger issue is, how far will we allow bad people to say bad things and still enjoy the protection of the First Amendment? Does the First Amendment protect bad and horrible speech? And how horrible? And what if there's no clear and present danger? What if it doesn't satisfy the Brandenburg case? Free speech at every level: social media, criminal law, police, information. I tried to look up an article and somebody said, we don't want that. Excuse me, you're getting in the way. No, I'm not keeping speech from you. I just don't want you to get disinformation. Well, let me figure this out. No, we know better. I just had that happen. Is that a First Amendment right? And who must do the limitation? Is it the government, or rather people? What about somebody who is alleged to be acting as a proxy? These are the issues that are critical and must be addressed. All right, my friends, preparewithlionel.com, mypillow.com /Lionel. Don't forget the Cutting Room, January 14th. Tickets available right here. Go on this this information part right here. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter. Got a butte going out today. And don't forget Mrs. L's YouTube channel, Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors. And we thank you so much for being with us. Have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.